I'll keep an eye out. Awesome. Well, as I said, welcome today to a bit of end of the term kōrero. Just to give you a few updates on term one and on validation. But I'm going to let Regan lead most of this session. We have a wee presentation, so you've got some visuals to go with all the talking as well. So Regan, do you want to kick off?
Yep, cool. Thanks, Adoya. It's good to have all the Cantabs. This is our Crusaders network, I guess. We've got the West Coast, South Canterbury, and our Canterbury crew joining together for this hui. I'm currently day 6 of COVID, so I'm almost back into getting out of isolation, which I'm looking forward to. And Adoya and I were just saying earlier how hard it must be for the teachers this year, having to wear masks for literally an entire term. So well done. You've almost made it. We're almost at the holidays. It's a deserved holiday for everyone. It's been bloody hard, and even talking for 5 minutes with a mask on is impossible. So you're really big respect how you can do that day in, day out. It's a lot of hard work. So Adoya and I have just chucked together some notes on what we think is important to have achieved this term and what we want for validation. So I'm going to help Adoya, Serena, and Stacey with their marking. And just so we're all on the same page, we're just going to give you some ideas, basically what we're after. And we're going to give you an idea of what is the minimum requirement. So if your students want to get their 15 points, we're looking for some basic things to get them over the line. All right, so what do we got first, Adoya? A lovely presentation here. There we go. We're just going to go over a bit of a checklist. So first one, look, everyone's formed their companies. Hopefully that's been done. Talking to Liz, we're about 4,700 students across the country, which is about the same as last year. So we're pretty happy with the amount of students we've got, and companies will be reasonably similar. Kickstart this year, we tried our hardest to make them online just with uncertainty. If you got some students to those, great. It wasn't compulsory. So if your students didn't get to one of those, it's not a big deal. But if they did, hopefully they enjoyed that. So that would be another part of the year that we wanted them to get done. Next, we've got, there we go, registering students. If you still have some students you want to get registered, it's still doable. The portal doesn't close till this Thursday. So any more the merrier. I think we're literally student for student equal to what we were last year. So if you have any more students, it'll keep HQ quite happy because we'll be just getting up over that 7,300. Now, iQualify. I've had a few questions from teachers about iQualify and whether students should be using it. Yes, you can't do yes without iQualify. I fully believe it's such a cool resource and it's got everything there you need to know. And join the Yes class of 2022 and the Instagram. Get on there because Adoya, I know Adoya especially is fielding a lot of questions from some teachers asking about key dates. If students are on those things, they find out about key dates and all the links. It all gets supplied on those sites. So definitely get your students into that. Now, this one slips through a lot of groups' fingers. It's the Constitution. Make sure your students have got that signed. It's just a good part of business to get that done. And at the end of the year, we do have disputes and you can go back to the Constitution and say, look, you agree to this, you agree to this. It protects you as a teacher as well, having students have that signed. The mentor. Look, I don't know who's got a mentor yet, but I don't think you can do yes without it. It's just another person that can help you push those students over the line and give them some quality ideas on what they should be doing. I don't think you can do yes without a mentor. So make sure you get one of those ASAP. That should have happened this term. No biggie if you haven't. I know Adoya and Canterbury can hook you up or hook your groups up. Serena's the same on the West Coast. And we've got Stacey, who's on currently, I think she's on her phone, going between schools, picking up, but she's listening. She's more than happy to help in South Canterbury if you need a mentor for your teams. Ideation, from what we understand, everyone's got an idea, but don't be afraid of pivoting. If the validation tells your students that their idea is no good, it's not going to work, or it's something of that nature, you can pivot. We've had Cashmere High School, their team won a national title, pivoting all the way through to about June. Not that we recommend it, but they did pivot their idea until they found something they loved. So don't be afraid for your ideas to change in term 2. Lean Canvas, they should have something that they can show, a business plan. That's what we would expect. especially if they're chatting to business people and mentor in term 2, they need that lean canvas to show people. Prototype. Another big part that we're going to be looking for when we do mark is we want to see evidence of a prototype or an MVP. A prototype is just something that looks like their product. It doesn't have to be it, but an MVP is a bit more advanced, where they would be prepared to sell it or get people to test directly using that MVP. Like if they were making hot sauce, the MVP that people taste, it would be an advantage. It's a bit more advanced than just a simple prototype, and we quite like that for when you do your validation. Now, group fundraising. We recommend that your students should have done some of this in term 1, but it's not a biggie if they haven't. There's still plenty of time. I know Natalie in Kaipoi, she organised a big class raffle trying to raise about $2,000 to $3,000 with all the kids in the class work together, and then they divvied the money up per group, and that was their focus for term 1. So definitely it really helps to get some money in the back pocket to help the groups out when they start producing in term 2. That's the fun bit, opening the bank account. In theory, you would have done it this term, but it's such a pain in the ass to do that I don't think you need to do it. Talking to Adoy about this one earlier, if a student, I know that we're not supposed to recommend this, but if a student does have their own bank account, or you can use one at school, it saves you having to spend about 5 months trying to fight the banks to get this happening. Or if you're really, really lucky and you have a relationship with a bank person nearby your school and you can get them to do your school, then that's great. We've looked to do it at a national level, but of course banks get a bit scared when we say we've got 4,500 students wanting to set up bank accounts. That's too much work for not enough reward from them. So that's why we don't have anything at a national level. Applying for seed funding. Now, Doya's going to jump into this one a little bit. She's just going to talk about how many students did apply for the seed funding that she had. How'd we go, Doya?
Yeah, aside from the national seed funding, we were lucky enough here in Canterbury to secure some sponsorship, and we have $4,000 available for Canterbury students. We had on the first round 30 teams apply, which is a fairly good number for our first round. And we're open now, just now the second round, so we run just the same as the National Seed Fund, same criteria and same dates. We work to the same.
Cool. All right, Serena, West Coast, you've got some seed funding that'll be happening soon for these students.
Regan, can you hear me?
Oh, yep. So I can hear who's asking the question.
Lisa.
Lisa,
when
what's your
will
question,
we
Lisa?
find out about the seed funding, whether they're successful for round 1?
They're having the meeting today up in Wellington. You'll find out in the next, I would say, 24 hours. That's what
before
I've been
the
told.
end of term.
Yep.
Thank you.
No worries. Sorry, Serena, over to you.
Well, so we have secured $2,000 for seed funding for the West Coast. So that will happen start of term 2. I'll start rolling that out. So I'll reach out to all the teachers and we can get that going.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yep. So seed funding, and I know that the second round of the Waikato University seed funding is available to all students, and that's $5,000. And last year they were very generous. They were giving out a lot of 50s and a lot of 100s. So lots and lots of groups that applied got that money. So you've got to be in to win. It's a 90-second video. Get your students to try and get some of that seed funding. Extreme experiences. I know the applications for these haven't been great. I'm not sure on exact numbers, but that was for EIA. There are 3 other events coming up this year, which individuals apply for. These aren't for teams. These are for great individuals that are motivated to do something a little bit different, something cool. I know the timing isn't great. They might be in school holidays or they might be during the term. I really don't know. I haven't even looked at the times, but they are great experiences. So please get your students to have a go at these. Validation. This is due at the end of the term. So what we're going to do now is probably just give you a few tips about validation on what we want to see. And I know it might seem this might be a bit late, but just to make sure your students have just got a few simple things to make sure we can get them those 15 points, because we're not going to be hard. We just want to make sure they've got everything so we can tick the box. So it's due 4 p.m. Thursday. To be eligible for the prize competition, or if your students aren't ready, they've still got to the end of term 3 to do that. So this is only for the early birds to win additional prizes. They actually have till the end of the year's experience to hand that this challenge in. So it's a 60 to 90-second video, or it can be a Word or PDF file. If you choose Canva or a different format, you can turn those Canva into a PDF file to submit, but apparently we can only take Word docs or PDFs. I would be a lot more happy with a PDF file because I think Word docs don't seem to transfer that well. You do it through iQualify, section 10 there, chapter 10, it tells you how to submit evidence. They just follow the links, fill in the paperwork, boom, submit, it's done. Now, to get your 5 points, it has to be pretty bad to get just 5 from us. Adoya's going to put a big stamp at the front. What we need to see is we actually need to know who they are for starters, but we're going to get to those small things in a minute. But 5 points would be just using some surveys. They've got their 5 bullet points and at least one image of an MVP or prototype. But what we give them 5 points is on. We've got no evidence that they've actually carried this out with a whole lot of guts. It's just been something quick that they might have quickly whipped up. 10 points is a bit different. We can see evidence they've got a prototype. They're validated using people they already know, but we can see they've got some focus groups or interviews. They've still got their 5 bullet points and they've got an image of a prototype again. This is just a bit more evidence that they've done some work to get their 10 points. All right, we're going to flick through to 15 points. This is what we want, and we really want to give out 15. Some way they've used strangers. It doesn't mean they're outside a shop. It just means that they've explained to us in their method that they've interviewed people on a Facebook page of them in their target market, the people they didn't know. They've explained that some way that we believe them. They have interviewed strangers, and there's lots of images. We're big fans on images to prove that they've actually done the work, and we can see that their prototype's nice and clear and that they've been actually validating with strangers. That's what we're after. So Adoya, Stacey, and Serena all want to give out 15. We've got a wee checklist here. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with this checklist, but Adoya's got this available that she can email out to anyone, or if you've got the recording here, you can see these here. The first one at the top, this is the one that really gets us, is your yes company name and school. Half of the groups last year didn't, and I mean half, it was about 50%. And when you're trying to sort through 130 entries, like in Canterbury alone, that's a real pain, trying to figure out what's what. So it's a great tip. Get that first bit on. That puts us in a good mood when we're marking the rest. And then describe. A lot of it's just describing. You're not going into too much depth. And there are some details and photos, videos, sketches, drawings. We love those things. If you've got photos of you doing the work, it just makes us believe that it's happened, because sometimes we do get a bit skeptical going, where is this from? It's just a couple of graphs, some words. There's no images. There's no evidence. So we really want to give out those 15 points, but we need those things on that checklist. All right, what's next to Adoya? She's just going to switch screens. Here we go, up it comes. Right, no, what's happening here? We don't want to update. No, thank you. Okay, there's sort of half of that top part's blanked out a bit, Adoya, but that's all good. All right, we've just got an example of one here that Adoya and I made up just yesterday, just as an example of what we're looking for 15 points. It's just 2 pages is good. The first thing that we've got at the top is, we've talked about the Challenge 1 validation, so we know we're dealing with Challenge 1. We're both members of Otago High School, and we've got our names, and our company is called Big Poppers Hot Sauce. So we've made some hot sauce. We've got a sketch there of our hot sauce in bottles, so we know it's a product, and straight away the way I can look at it and go, okay, they're making a hot sauce. We've figured that out. We've got the description, and you can even follow this template, have headings, so it's so easy to use. This is just to get your 15 points. If you want something, the students want something amazing to try and win competitions, they would probably do something a bit more, but this is just the basics. Describe your product service. Basically, we've talked about what it is. It's nice and clear. We've talked about a target market with the age range, agenda, a little bit about them, so we can kind of figure out our target market, made it nice and clear. That's what we want to see. All right, we'll move down to the next bit. Describe what you did for validation. to validate our hot source. We just said we did face-to-face interviews. We've explained it, the people we were targeting, how we found them, how we went about doing it. So it's nice and clear. So when Adoy and I are marking, we can see this and go, okay, cool. They have done it that way. It makes nice. It's clear. We've got a sketch there of the prototype as well. Sketches are fine as long as they do have some other images. Sometimes if you're doing a complex product, you just can't create the prototype just yet. So a sketch is all you can do. And that's fine as long as it's explained and has a bit more detail. Okay, we're going down. We've got the survey questions scribbled down there in a bit of paper. That's pretty rough, but it works. We can see them that they used 5 questions, or we did 5 questions. We've got a snippet of some of the screenshot, the surveys, but we've also got a Google link to other information so we can check it out and see that it does exist rather than just assuming that that work is there. What did you learn from your validation? 5 good bullet points backed up with a bit of data there. So we can see, for example, based on customer feedback, our product will sell at farmers markets. The feedback was extremely positive. 85% of people stating they would buy the source. Therefore, we will go ahead with our source. Okay, it's got data, it's backed up, there's 5 bullet points, it's great. And down the bottom, you can see that we've got 2 lovely photos of Adoya and I at the farmers market ourselves. The one on the left you can see is Adoya handing out the survey questions, and I'm on the right handing out source. Great photos. That's what we're after. Real photos, not make believe ones. So if a 2-page format like that would be great. And everything is there that we need to give it the 15 points.
I'll share the PowerPoint in the poster you saw before, and with the recording when I sent it to also Serena and Stacey. So you've got everything.
Yeah. So that's we won't hold you up too much longer. That was about all the time we wanted, just to give you some heads up on just a checklist for this term, things that most likely should have been done, but if you haven't done them, it's no big deal. We can get those done early next term, and just what we're for validation. Okay, anything else to add, Serena and Stacey, if you're still hiding in there somewhere?
No, that's good for me. Yeah, I've got nothing to add.
That's all good. Doya, any last remarks before we let these good people get back to their busy marking times, no doubt?
No, not really. Just yeah, everybody be kind to yourselves and have a lovely break. Yeah, you all need it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, excellent. And thank you very much for your time. And in terms of marking, we will have these things marked and ready by the beginning of term 2. That'll be our goal as a team. Do we happy with that?
Yep.
Yep. And Serena, so they'll be ready to go Monday when they come back term 2?
Yep.
And Stacey will be the same. Yep.
I just had a quick question around the 15 points for validation. I've got a group who are looking at interviewing people from their church, and just wondering if that would be acceptable for like your strangers or getting out of the building. Because they don't know the families necessarily, all of them. It's a really big church, but they're thinking of interviewing some of those. Would that still count?
That's 100%. That's fine. I mean, that shows effort and energy. That's basically, we're after effort. The strangers thing, we can't say who's a stranger and who's not a stranger. It's just people that are in their target market that meet the criteria. So that's perfect.
Yeah, cool. Ticks all the boxes. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, no, all good. Good question.
Are you ISIS?
Kia ora, new from Kashmir.
Nice. I don't think we've seen each other's faces yet. Nice to meet you.
Oh, there we go. There we go. This is where the face is from. Got Dale's face in the corner here.
I saw Dale.
Dale.
Where's Banassi? Where's he hiding?
We think he might be sick today.
Yeah, we don't know.
He's not. He's gone home. No worries. Right, team, if we haven't got any other questions, we'll let you go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cookie tea.
Cheers.
Haere rā.